Good morning. Good morning. Hope everybody's doing well this morning. Doesn't look like a big crowd here, so enjoy having all of you. At this time, I'd like to call on Mr. Hargrove for prayer.
Let us pray. O Lord, our Lord, how excellent is thy name in all the earth, whom thou hast set thy glory above the heavens. This morning, we petition your spirit of grace, your spirit of mercy, kindness, favor, wisdom, and knowledge to govern this county that will be in accordance to thy will that shall be given. Give us strength and vision for the future and its growth. Thank you for all that has transpired up to this present time, that we may hear the desires and the needs of county residents and respond in a positive manner. Bless those who has been affected by the recent storms. Open men and women's hearts to give to those who have been affected and those that are in need. Bless all first responders to whatever branch that they serve and their families. This I pray in the name of Jesus. Amen.
Amen. At this time, I'd like to call this meeting to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Any additions or deletions to the agenda? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
Mr. Chair, I so move.
Motion been made. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
The motion carries. Hope everyone's had a chance to look at the minutes from our September the 9th board meeting. Entertain a motion to approve those minutes.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Motion been made. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Mr. Hendrick.
You have an application from Apex Ventures Incorporated to rezone from industrial M1 to business B1 for proposed restaurant. This property identified as partial record number 35932 and county tax number 127000-10-002. The zone is industrial M1 is located on the east side of Commerce Drive. It is intersection with Highway 58, Election District 8, County of Mecklenburg, reference deed book LR-7-2558.
All right. Any comments on this? Entertain a motion from that district.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we accept this application.
Any discussion on the motion? All in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
The motion carries. Okay, let me get into item F. Alex, you want to bring us up to speed on this enterprise zone amendment?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chair. The enterprise zone is a economic development and recruiting tool that was enacted by the Commonwealth of Virginia back in 2005. There's a handful of these, well, probably more than a handful. There's scores of these throughout the Commonwealth. And what they are is districts that are created by localities. You identify territory, often areas that you are looking to have business and new industry come to. And you can set up a menu of certain tax advantages as part of your strategy. And there's other besides taxes too, but inducements and incentives, let's call it that, to draw people to those areas. Mecklenburg has a joint enterprise zone with Brunswick. We've had it for a considerable amount of time. It's been about 10 years since we revisited the boundaries district lines, and so we've had a tremendous amount of economic development in that intervening time. And so the county, the PDC, and the towns thought it was an appropriate time now to revisit it, drop some parcels that have been repurposed for economic development, add new parcels. So we've met with the towns in the PDC for several months to remap our area. You can have a certain amount of territory included in these zones, and in Mecklenburg's, there's almost 4,000 acres, just short of 4,000 acres that are available. In conjunction with those local communities, we've identified a little over 3,000 acres to go into these enterprise zones. So we definitely have room to work for if future areas need to be identified and added. You can amend this actually every year, but like I said, we haven't done it in 10. The zones themselves are for, when they were originally created, they were allowed for 4 or 5 year terms, but recent legislation expanded that. So we will have the enterprise zones in place for a little while longer. But the general purpose, this is not changing anybody's county zoning. This is not changing anybody's county taxes. All this does is allow the county to offer to a new person a certain incentive on their, for example, their machinery and tools tax if they were coming in and to build a new factory here. It also then would allow certain grants programs from the Commonwealth of Virginia to these local companies coming in here to be eligible for those Commonwealth grants. The way the Commonwealth works is that the locality has to put up something in order for them to invest. And so our rebate here on a machinery and tools in that example would then also unlock the Commonwealth investing in certain job creation or factory development grants. So all of this is to say that this is a boundary adjustment. It does not affect anybody who resides or operates now in those boundaries. It is all done in order to put Mecklenburg County in the best, and the towns in Mecklenburg County in the best position for future economic growth, expansion, and recruitment.
Okay. A lot of good information right there. Any comments on this before we move to adopt the resolution? Anyone like to make that motion?
Mr. Chairman, I'll make the motion that we adopt this resolution supporting the amendment of the Mecklenburg-Brunswick Regional Enterprise Zone.
Okay. Motion's been made. Any more discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carries. Next, we've got Mr. Hargrove, the Emergency Services Committee report.
Yes, sir. I have 2 dates that I'd like to share with the board. And that is the Emergency Service Committee met on September the 11th, 2024 at 5 p.m. in the Board of Supervisors meeting room. Present was myself, Andy Hargrove, Chairman, Craig Gravitt, Brenda Blackwood, Tom Tanner. Others present was Alice Goschall, County Administrator, Major Evans, and Captain Whitmore, Ben Duncan, 911 Director, and Jeff Brunel of EMS Office. We met with several companies to see what was best qualified and best fit to build this 911 building. And the ones that we chose was Tingle, Newell, Intros, and Mosley. So this is just a point of information. We met again on September the 26th, 2024 at 6 p.m. in the Mecklenburg County Sheriff's Office Conference Room in Boydton. There again, President myself, Andy Hargrove, Chairman, Tom Tanner, members present, Brenda Blackwell and Kurt Gravitt. Others present was Alice Goschall, County Administrator, Judy Sheffield, Assistant County Administrator, Major Brent Evans, Major Chris Whitmore, Ben Duncan, 911 Director, Jeff Brunel, EMS Office, and Alex Wells, IT Director. We interviewed, and there were 3 that was chosen to be interviewed. That we interviewed was 4, but that was Mosley and Terrell and Tingle. We chose as a committed Mosley to do our work at the firm that would be the one to do architectural design, and to move forward. And so at this time, I would like to make a motion for our safety building. I would like to make a motion that the committee authorized the staff to proceed to negotiation with Mosley with the design to bring a draft contract forward for an approval by the entire Board of Supervisors in this October's meeting. That's my motion, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, Ms. Hargrove. The motion's been made that we accept the proposal from Mosley.
Just to
Alex?
just to clarify, our intent is to bring the contract to the November meeting.
Okay.
Yeah. We will proceed to negotiations with
Okay,
them and then
okay.
have it informed for
The
that.
motion's been made. All in favor of this, any more discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
And the motion carries. Thank you. All right, Mr. Tanner.
All right, the Economic Development Committee met on Thursday, September 19th, 2024 at 6 p.m. in the Board of Supervisors meeting room in Boynton, Virginia. Members present, Tom Tanner, Chairman, David Brankley, Dennis Smith. Members absent, Sterling Wilkerson. Other members present, Alex Gottschalk, County Administrator, Angie Kellett, Economic Development Director. Chairman Tanner called the meeting to order. The four firms that responded to the county's general engineering services request for proposal each presented to the board. The four firms in order of appearance were Drewberry, Hurt Profit, Timmons, and B&B. During each presentation, representatives from the firms covered their experience in areas such as water utility design, wastewater utility design, roadway design, economic site development, and residential development. Following the presentation, committee members and county staff asked questions of each firm to elicit additional details regarding their experience and knowledge in these subject areas. After all four firms presented, the committee discussed the presentations and determined that it was in the best interest of the county to award 3 contracts. The committee ranked the proposals as follows. Number 1, Dewberry. Number 2, Timmons. Number 3, B&B. Number 4, Hurt and Profit. The committee authorized staff to proceed to negotiations with the top 3 and instructed that all contracts be kept general in their scope of services, thereby authorizing each firm to engage in all services, which will allow the county to issue project assignments based on the needs of each project and the availability and ability of each firm to provide such services at that specific moment. The committee then adjourned. Do we need a motion to?
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask.
Okay.
Yes, the same one as prior to.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that the top 3 that were presented, Dewberry, Timmons, and B&B, be used as our county general services.
Okay. Everyone's heard the motion. Any more comments? Alex, you'd like to add anything at all?
Assuming that we are able to come to terms with those 3, then that would also be on hopefully on your November agenda.
Okay. All right, very good. All in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye. The motion carries. Thank you. Ms. Blackwell, Personnel Committee.
A meeting of the Personnel Committee was held in and for the County of Mecklenburg on October 2nd, 2024 at 5:30 p.m. in the Board of Supervisors meeting room of the Good Bank Building. Members present, Brenda Blackwell, Chair, Claudia Lundy, Sterling Wilkinson, and Tom Tanner. Also present, Andy Hargrove, Supervisor, Alex Gottschalk, County Administrator, Judy Sheffield, Assistant County Administrator, Chief Danny Clary, Fort Barfoot Fire Department. Upon motion of Mr. Tanner, the board voted unanimously to convene closed session of the Code of Virginia, discussion, consideration, or interviews of prospective candidates for employment, assignment, appointment, promotion, performance, demotion, salaries, disciplining, or resignation of specific public officers, appointees, or employees of any public body. Brenda Blackwell, Claudia Lundy, Sterling Wilkinson, Tom Tanner voted aye. Upon motion of Mr. Tanner, the board voted unanimously to reconvene open session. Brenda Blackwell, Claudia Lundy, Sterling Wilkinson, Tom Tanner voted aye. Upon motion of Mr. Wilkinson, the board voted unanimously to adopt the following certification resolution. Brenda Blackwell, Claudia Lundy, Sterling Wilkinson, Tom Tanner voted aye. Do I read the certification?
We haven't been in the past, have we?
Okay. Upon a motion of Mr. Tanner, the committee voted unanimously to offer the position of Emergency Services Director to Justin Birch, Brenda Blackwell, Claudia Lundy, Sterling Wilkinson, Tom Tanner voted aye. There being no further business, the meeting was adjourned.
All right, Ms. Blackwell, I'll take that report as a motion.
Do we have a motion to accept the report?
Yes, ma'am.
Motion to accept.
So,
Justin Birch.
the motion's been made to
Accept
accept
Justin Birch.
Mr. Justin Birch as the Emergency Services Director.
Yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
And the motion carries. Thank you. Mr. Spence?
All right. The Landfill Committee met on Tuesday, October the 15th, 2024, at 8:00 a.m. in the Board of Supervisors meeting room. Members present were Dennis Spence, Claudia Lundy, David Brankley, Kurt Gravitt. Also present were Jim Jennings, Andy Hargrove, Tom Tanner, Brenda Blackwell, Alex Gottschalk, County Administrator, Judy Sheffield, Assistant County Administrator, Jenny Whitmore, Clerk, Terry Bowen, Landfill Director, and Lamont Todd, Assistant Landfill Director. Mr. Spence called the meeting to order. Excuse me. The committee discussed the town of Chase City and the town of South Hill ceasing their commercial trash service to the businesses located in their towns. Mr. Gottschalk and Supervisor Tanner gave the board an update on the Bracy Convenience Center project. The committee discussed future convenience center sites throughout the county and a timeline for construction and completion of them. Mr. Gottschalk introduced newly appointed employees, Mr. Terry Bowen, Landfill Director, and Lamont Dodd, Assistant Landfill Director, to the committee. The committee welcomed them aboard and thanked them for their hard work and dedication to the county. Mr. Gottschalk advised the committee that in the fiscal year 2024-25 adopted budget, funds were included for the purchase of a new roll-off truck for the Mecklenburg County landfill. This would be the county's second roll-off truck. With roll-off trucks, the county can service convenience sites in-house rather than relying on the external contractors to collect specialized material such as brush and metals from these sites. In the coming months, the county will be transitioning to in-house pickup at Penn Road, Trading Post, and John Bill using the current truck. With the acquisition of this new truck, the county will then convert wayside collection model. Additionally, the new truck will be sufficient to service the forthcoming Bracy site. The committee reviewed a quote for the new roll-off. This truck would be a 2026 Peterbilt 567 tandem axle. The estimated delivery date of this truck is in the second half of 2025. The total price for this vehicle is $2,094,715. This represents a 28% increase over the initial roll-off, which was ordered 2 years ago. Upon a motion by Mr. Brankley, the committee voted unanimously, authorized staff to place an order to acquire the 2026 Peterbilt 567 tandem axle truck with a Culberth 60K roll-off body at a price of $294,715. There being no further business, the meeting was adjourned.
Okay, thank you. So I'll take that committee report as a motion to
Yes,
buy
ma'am.
this truck.
Yes, sir, excuse me.
Okay. Any comments on this? All in favor of this motion to purchase this truck, all say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Kevin?
We have
VDOT. Whoa, one more.
Mr. Hargrove.
That's right, budget and finance, I'm sorry. I crossed the date too quick.
That's all, you should have.
Can we vote on it now?
Budget and Finance Committee met on Tuesday, October the 15th, 2024 at 8:15 in the Board of Supervisors meeting room. Members, President, myself, Andy Hargrove, Chairperson, David Brinkley, Tom Tanner, Brenda Blackwell. Also present, Jim Jennings, Claudia Lundy, Craig Gravitt, Dennis Spence, Alex Gottschall, County Administrator, Judy Sheffield, Assistant County Administrator, Marsha Siemens, Treasurer, and Jenny Whitmore, Clerk. The Chairman called the meeting to order. And Mr. Gottschall reviewed the following requests. The Mecklenburg Clerk of Circuit Court Office has received funds from the Library of Virginia Circuit Court's Records Preservation Program. This program is designed to preserve historical circuit court records primarily through the creation of a digital access from the physical records that has been stored, that are now stored. Upon the motion, Mr. Brinkley, the committee voted unanimously to recommend that the board accept the appropriations of $36,337 with revenue from the Commonwealth increased accordingly from the Library of Virginia to the Clerk of the Circuit Court. Budget within the General Fund number 100 in the fiscal year 24-25 budget for the repair, preservations, and imaging of circuit court records. Mr. Chairman, I'd like to present this as a motion to receive the amount of $36,337 to the repair and preservation of the circuit court records.
Okay, everyone's heard the motion. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carries.
The next was the Rescue Squad Supplemental Request, General Fund 100, acting under authority created by a September 30, 23 amendment to the Federal Food, Drug, and Cosmetic Act, PL 118-15, that requires electronic tracing of product at the package level and transaction information of drug distribution. The Federal Food and Drug Administration has issued promulgations that effectively end hospital supply for rescue service and drug boxes. The increased amount is a combination of security upgrades, drug box creation, and the replenishment throughout the year and salary increases. It was upon a motion of Mr. Tanner, the committee voted unanimously to recommend to the board a transfer of $90,000 from the multi-purpose reserve to the support for Rescue Squad Department within the General Fund 100. In the fund fiscal year of 2024-25 budget with $55,000 to the Southside Rescue Squad and $35,000 to the Borden Life Station for costs associated with drug box program, less the amount requested for salary. I would like to make this as a motion, to receive this total amount of $90,000. I'm doing both in the combination, one of $55,000 to the Southside Rescue Squad and the other $35,000 to the Borden Life Station.
Okay. Everyone's heard the motion. Any comment? All in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. Motion carries.
Lastly but not least, or least but not last.
Doing good.
The Good and Circuit Court Building HVAC Replacement Capital Fund 300. Mecklenburg County governmental facilities built in the early 2000s are heated and cooled by wall-mounted HVAC units. These units are operated with a refrigerant type of R410A under regulation promulgated by the Environmental Protection Agency and through authority created by the 42 USC 7675 enacted by Congress through the American Innovation and Manufacturing Act of 2020. The use of the R410A refrigerant will no longer be permitted to be manufactured beginning in 2025. The total cost of replacing these units is $149,836 for the Good and for the Circuit Court building. Upon a motion, Mr. Brinkley, the committee voted unanimously to recommend authorization of the creation of capital projects, Good HVAC replacement, and the Circuit Court HVAC replacement in the fiscal year 2025 through 2030. The Capital Improvement Program and the Capital Fund number 300 of the fiscal year 24-25 budget and appropriate and appropriated $149,836 for the project Good HVAC replacement and $170,836 for project Circuit Court HVAC replacement to the Capital Fund 300 in the fiscal year 24-25 budget for the purchase of the HVAC replacement units, with revenue from the fund balance estimated an increase in the fund accordingly. Mr. Chairman, I would like to place this as a motion as well, that each one, the HVAC for the capital and the HVAC for the Good be replacement at thus said cost.
Okay. Everyone's heard the motion. Any comment? All in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye. Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Hargrove. Now, Kevin, I think I messed you up too when you looking at the agenda and saw I skipped something. So.
Yeah, I thought I had the wrong agenda. Good morning.
Morning.
Our VDOT report this month, we've been very busy working on rural rustic projects and mowing. We're still mowing on secondary roads, and we're going to start transitioning to primary here very soon. We're taking care of any site distance issues that comes up on the mowing. Our rural rustic projects, we've been very busy with them. All Goods Lane is now paved. They still got to do some reseeding and some cleanup work there. No problems. Road looks good. Dry Creek Road, they're actually paving it this week. That one is still on schedule to get completed by the end of October. We still got 3 bridge approaches to do out on 58. I think we've got the worst of the worst, but we definitely want to get those last 3 in this year. Our Clarksville crew replaced a pipe at the intersection right 58 and 49 up at the crossover. I talked to the superintendent there. They still need to patch that. They're letting it settle down. And Sunday, we sent 13 employees from South Hill Residency out to Southwest Virginia to help with their efforts out there. They spent yesterday fixing washed out shoulders and stuff. They sent some pictures. They really got a mess out there. So we were happy that we was able to do it, to give them a crew out there. 6 of those 13 employees are Mecklenburg County that works at our area headquarters in Mecklenburg County. So we took a little bit from everybody to send out there. So that's all I've got this month, unless y'all have anything.
No, I don't. Anyone have anything?
Thank you for the road fixture at the convenience center at Trading Post.
Yes, sir.
Thank you so much.
Yes, sir.
The only thing I was going to ask Kevin, I know a few months ago we had mentioned on 58 right in La Crosse in front of the Freeman Outdoor, we were having those issues with the washing and all that. They've been able to do anything to?
We're going to address that. It's probably going to be, we're probably just going to have to make do with it this winter and look at it next spring to try to address it, to do some shoulder, maybe do a little shoulder pavement and stuff. There is some work at that Freeman's entrance that needs to be done. We need to talk to the property owner there and see what all he's willing to do. But yes, we're definitely going to be looking at that and see what we can do to improve that drainage there.
Thank you, sir.
All right.
All right.
All right, we'll see you next month.
Thank you, Kevin. Jenny, we got anybody signed up for public comment? I do want to remind everybody 3 minutes. So. Cliff, you know the ritual, I'm sure.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
Cliff Scher with Long Road Energy. I just wanted to offer appreciation. I saw the construction traffic management plan here on the administrator's report, and just wanted to offer a note of appreciation for discussing and putting forth that ordinance. You know, we've reviewed the July draft, and we think it's really helpful for projects to know the rules and regulations that they'll need to follow. We are already incorporating into our plans the documentation of road conditions before the start of any construction. a commitment to road maintenance plan, restoring any damaged roadway to prior condition or better, and managing track out through infrastructure, and also ensuring stable entrances with on-site unloading, storage, and turnaround areas all within the project site. So we're looking forward to reviewing the latest draft and following that process as it moves forward. Also, with the appointment of a new emergency services director, I'll be sure to share I met with the current or previous emergency services director closer to the end of the year, and it shared some information about how we coordinate with local municipalities on the close to 4,000 megawatts of projects that we operate, and shared information on emergency response at those facilities. So I'll be sure to share that information with the new emergency services director. So that's all I have. Thanks for your time.
Okay, thank you. No one else?
Nope.
Okay. All right, Alex, you up?
All right, that's a good segue into this first item. So several months ago, we discussed with the board the construction traffic management plan. At that time, we had worked with county staff and VDOT to craft a potential zoning ordinance amendment, and we had mentioned that it had yet to undergo legal review. So that has now happened. Russell took a look at it, provided some comments. Greg Haley and Gentry Locke have looked at it and provided significantly more comments. And so the version that is now in front of you today has many of the same tenets as the prior version from the spring. However, some of the requirements that we are allowed to do are lessened than prior. The other thing that came from their review is that we have to kind of start from the beginning. So what we're going to do today is we are going to request your support for a enabling resolution that will send to the Planning Commission this draft, and have the Planning Commission review the draft, schedule the public hearing, and go through the customary zoning ordinance amendment process. And then it will eventually come back to the board if the Planning Commission, well, I guess no matter how they recommend, aye or nay on that, eventually will come back to the Board of Supervisors for enactment. So this has unfortunately been delayed by a few months from what our optimal goal had been, yet that happens sometimes. So I just want to run through briefly what's in the current draft. So the most important thing here is that we are making an amendment to our ordinances to create the construction traffic management plan. And we're going to put that into place in the business district and the industrial district, and then covering any solar facilities. The plan has a number of provisions included in it. Some of the highlights include, of course, the location of the project, what road network they will take to get to the project, so that we are informed ahead of time what the haul-in routes would be, what the traffic patterns are going to be, the description of the parking areas, the unloading areas, the turnaround areas, where you're going to have the washing station at, so all of that kind of lay down and storage space. If there is any number of vehicles, what is that estimate going to be, so we can tell what the impact is going to be on the roads. A survey of conditions at the start of the project, which includes an evaluation of the road, both from the visual, what we can see, as well as the condition of the roadbed. And so the whole goal here is, of course, to minimize the damage to the public streets and the public highways from large-scale projects. And then, of course, we are going to have them set out to us the specific steps that will be taken to restore and repair the damage to those highways particularly in the immediate vicinity of the project. And then we're going to have a whole bunch of other information. But the way this is going to work, and this is a little bit different than we had visually visioned, it's going to be tied now to the issuance of the erosion and sediment control and the land disturbance permit and phase of the project. So we will not, for a general, this is where the big, I think, legal distinction was. If you have a regular rezoning of a property that is not changing the use that's allowed for in that particular district. So if you're going from agriculture to industrial, and one of the uses that you want to do is one of the by right uses in the industrial district, then we actually don't have the power to put this as a condition at the time of the rezone. But we do have permits that we have to grant, one of them being the land disturbance permit. So when the application would come before the Planning Commission and David, this condition wouldn't be able to be on there, but we would know that these rules are in place so that the applicant would have to give us the construction traffic management plan prior to them getting the land disturbance permit. So they couldn't actually do any site work until they give us this information. It just unfortunately won't be at the same time that you're making the decision on the rezoning. However, if there is a special exemption permit that is required for that particular use, then we can incorporate this into that, the conditions that are placed at that time. So that's just a little tiny nuance. We actually have a lot of activities that are currently by right. So it might come in a little bit later phase, which isn't going to necessarily give as much public-facing information as we were hoping for when people come here to make comments at the Planning Commission meeting. But unfortunately, that's what the law allows for us to do. Nevertheless, it will be a significantly more regulatory authority that we have going forward than we had today. So this is still a significant win for us relative to what has happened now. The zoning administrator will have or their designee will have the authority to determine whether this plan meets our standards or not. If it doesn't, then it will get kicked back to the developer to be resubmitted. So they will not get their permit to clear or do any land activities until we have this in place. Okay. So this is going to be a more significant regulation. There is also additional amendments to our zoning ordinance that will be coming through this particular set of amendments. One in particular that I know the chairman is very interested in is it would set definitions for borrow and fill areas and also require a special exception permit going forward for those sites, including if they're in the agricultural districts. Hitherto, we did not have that in place, so if you submitted one of those sites on an existing agricultural parcel, there was no requirement that they have any conditions placed upon them other than they had to get the basic land disturbance permit.
Will we have a public hearing on those sites in the future?
That's right. Okay. Not only will we have a public hearing on them, they will the Planning Commission and the board ultimately will be able to impose conditions on them through the special exemption process. So this
we have not done that.
In the past we had no authority to do that. So that authority. That is correct. So for the ones that we have now, there's really nothing we can do about them unless they, have erosion sediment control issues. Then we can, deal with them on that. But we couldn't require them ahead of time to.
So in the past, somebody could buy a piece of land and start doing that.
That's right.
And that was all they had to do.
As long as they got the land disturbance permit. Yeah, right, that's right. That's correct. Yeah. And in the future, we will be able to set forth a whole bunch of conditions on that. So that's incorporated into this. And then the other aspect that is added here is we are setting out a whole bunch of new guidelines for construction entrances. So, and that's going to be on business districts. That's going to be in the industrial districts. That's going to be more defined of what you can do at the start of your project rather, especially with the length of the driveway and then also the material that you'll have to have. So we're hoping that people don't track as much of the dirt and mud onto the roadways when they start disturbing in the development phase of a project. So we didn't have any guidelines for that right now. So we have spelled that out more extensively through this particular zone and ordinance amendment. So this is actually a package of amendments, but they're all related to construction and traffic and what we are seeing out there on the highways here in this county. So what we would need today is adoption of this resolution to send it down to the Planning Commission for it to be looked at that level before it comes back here for enactment.
Okay. Any questions on this?
Only question I had, did under the business uses, the 20,000 square feet of building or 10,000 square feet of land, was that something already in our ordinances, those figures?
No, that was what we decided administratively would be the optimal level to impose this upon, given the requirements. Just for an example, something that would be about borderline invoked would be kind of like a Dollar General, let's say, is about around this level. Some of them are smaller, some of them are larger, but that's the kind of business or commercial building that would kind of be at the level of this being triggered or not triggered. Any big time site developments, whether it would be a strip mall or an industrial facility or anything like that, would be significantly larger than this. But almost no homes would be triggered by this. I mean, it's not even in residential anyway, so that's irrelevant. But probably most of you. But that's kind of like the vantage point for where we were looking at.
Yeah, I was just looking because it says 10,000 square feet of land disturbance. It's what, 0.3 of an acre, roughly. That's why I was just asking, but that's fine.
Okay. Anyone else? We'll entertain a motion to accept this zoning ordinance amendments.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Motion been made. All in favor say aye. Aye. The motion carries.
All right, Robert, you have something else to add to your agenda? That was for the Planning Commission in the future.
They will, Planning Commission will hear at the end of next month.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Go next item.
Okay, yes. The next item is an MOU to govern the newest VADI application that we were awarded. I formed the board several months ago of this award, and it was well covered in the local newspaper. This was a big win for Mecklenburg County in terms of the transition of the CAF2 areas from the prior provider who had won those auctions, had worked out an agreement with Empower to transfer the ability to build out those lines. And so that was awarded through the latest VADI process. Anytime we have a VADI award, the localities, the PDC, the provider, and DHCD have to work through this MOU process. We've done this before on all of our prior applications. This language was actually built on the last one we did, amended for the relevant counties and the relevant amounts. So that this is a pretty straightforward procedure at this point, given that we've done several of these, and this pretty much just commits from our end us to pay our local match of this overall large project. In your packet, you do have a map at the beginning of this document, and that shows where the locations are for this project. All of the dots that are in red are areas that will be included in this particular project. So as you can see, it significantly fills out the gaps here in Mecklenburg County. So we just need your approval for us to enter into and execute this grant agreement with a multitude of other parties.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion to approve this grant.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Motion been made. All in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carries. Thank you.
The next item we have for you today is I was approached by Feedmore. Feedmore is a organization that helps bring and deliver food to those who are in need of such assistance. They have a very active presence here in Mecklenburg, and in fact, they have a kind of a distribution warehouse located over in South Hill, on the eastern side of South Hill. And so they have asked to partner with the county in the application for a community development block grant. The program is a federal program, and so the local government has to be the applicant, but you can work with many partner organizations. And so Feedmore is looking for these federal funds so that they can help enhance the abilities they have to perform assistance here in Mecklenburg County. They are looking to purchase a refrigerated trailer, a refrigerated box truck, and hire a second-time full-time driver for this area. All we have to do is be the applicant of record and to go through the notice and the public hearing process. But they are going to write the application. They will spend the funds. There is no local funds that is involved in these purchases. All they need us to do is to be that applicant of record. So this seems like a pretty good deal for the county, for the citizens of the county, to get additional help and assistance, and all we have to do is put our name to it. So,
Alice, do they work with the social service?
So they do work to a limited extent with social services. There have been communications with Feedmore and social services about building out a program that is under the funds that we have provided to social services for food assistance. But at this point, that's looking like it's going to be a budget item for next year and not this year. They do work to a limited extent together, but there's a more vibrant, robust program that the Feedmore and the Social Services Department have envisioned, but they don't have the time in this current fiscal year to execute it.
Right, okay.
All right.
So what we would need today is your approval for us to proceed to the public notice requirements if you feel like this is an application we should pursue.
Any comments, discussion on this? I'll entertain a motion.
So move, Mr. Chairman.
Motion been made. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Motion carries. Thank you.
All right. Wanted to provide an update on the schedule for the comprehensive plan. I know there have been a few questions about this lately. So we intend to have a draft plan released by the end of October. I've been told that I will have a plan for my review and comments this week. And then once those are incorporated, we will have a draft plan that will be available to the board and available to the public at the end of October. Our current time frame is for the final plan to have the public hearing in front of the Planning Commission at their November meeting, but it's actually the first Thursday in December, and then to be likewise on our agenda in December for the public hearing, the ultimate adoption of that plan. Having the draft plan out in October will do is allow plenty of time for the board, the Planning Commission, and the community to review that, make any comments, send comments our way, so those can be incorporated into the final document that would come before the Planning Commission and the board in December. So I wanted to let everyone know that this is forthcoming, to be on the lookout for it, and to hopefully read it and provide any thoughts you have so that we can get those into the document for the final version. But we will have ample opportunity for comments before the final edition gets rolled out before the board, and the Planning Commission and the board.
So can changes be made at that time?
Yes.
They can. Mm-hmm. The only thing is, our December meeting is a night meeting, And, you know, public hearing on night meetings are probably not the best time in the world. Is it time sensitive to do it then, or can we wait till January for the public hearing?
I think we need to get this enacted. We've already delayed it already based on the work schedule. Now this is, you know, the way this is scheduled with the October release date, end of October release date to December, there is ample opportunity for public commentary to come in the incorporation of what will ultimately be in the plan. The public hearing's on the final version of the plan before we adopt. It's not a public hearing on the draft plan. So most comments, if they want to be incorporated, it would lend itself to be earlier in the process and not wait till that final December meeting to comment on it.
Okay.
But if it's the will of the board, then we can certainly have it in
I'm
January.
open to have people feel about it one way or the other. When it was good for the board, it's good for me.
I mean, if they have, you said they would have an opportunity to comment on it at the planning commission meeting also.
That's right, yes.
Whatever y'all think.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the sooner we can get the information out to everyone, it's going to be the biggest thing, so everybody has time to look at it.
And if there are any public see, that was a good point that you brought up, Mr. Tanner, because what having it at the planning commission would do is, so if there are any comments that need to be incorporated, we would then have several days to get those into the document before the final version comes before this board.
You know, the only concern I had, you know, I know when we had our ag meeting, you know, we had Farm Bureau representative talk about land use and that kind of thing. And, you know, I would like to see that talked about in this comprehensive plan. You know, this county's growing and changing so much, and the land use in this county has changed just in the last 5 years exponentially.
There is significant dialogue about land use. I mean, that is the point of the comprehensive plan is land use.
I just want to make sure that it's plenty in there.
It is definitely discussed in terms of the way it's discussed in terms of the way the land is used, not the extra, not the tax component of
Not
it,
the tax
but actually on a land use basis, that is significantly done. The plan is going to have several different idealized zoning districts laid out for land use, but that is why the actual district use itself is why we then have to go into the a process to redo, well, beyond that, to redo the actual zoning ordinance amendment, because the actual districts can't go, a comprehensive plan is a guide for the land use.
Right.
The zoning ordinance is the actual, these are the regulations that you can and can't do with these lands. These are definitions and all. So that's a separate project that we would then have to do.
I just don't want to shut the door on that information going forward. You know, I want to make sure it's open in there.
It does not. Yeah, it doesn't have any bearing on that particular item.
Right.
And do you think this document would be available to be put out to the public by the end of October?
Yes.
That way we can get it out there and give everybody a chance to.
Okay. Is everybody good with that then? Yeah. All right.
And that's all the items I have today.
That's all the items you have. Very good.
Staff report.
Staff reports in there, but they're all listed. So next, I noticed on y'all's agenda, I had that on there. Alex and I talked about it, fire training center equipment purchase proposal, and where that came from. After the nutrient fire and all the first responders and fire departments in surrounded areas in Virginia and North Carolina came together to help control that situation, and then that group past September, I forgot what the date was, what Saturday it was, had that fundraiser in South Hill that they were going to raise money to help fire departments with that and everything. And I talked to Alex about possibly us doing something, and he brought up a really good point that the way they were doing that, it was kind of, unclear exactly how they would distribute the money and all that. So I told him, I said, well, why don't you get with Tom? Because, Tom's got his finger on the pulse of these kind of things, and y'all come up with a good idea to help out on this situation. And they came up with coming up with this fire training roof. Am I correct on that?
Yeah.
Fire training roof at the training center down there at La Crosse. And I thought it was just an absolute excellent idea because all these fire departments train there, and then everybody gets to use it, and it just helps everyone involved. So I will let Tom and Alex elaborate a little more on that to bring the board up to speed on what we'd like to do.
Yeah, I think if you, like I said, you can look in your packet at the item we're talking about. It's basically a roof simulator where they can go in to practice cutting holes in roofs and stuff like that. But the conversation that Alex and I had with Mr. Jennings was we wanted to find some way to give back to these volunteer agencies for what they did with the nutrient fiber, what they do every day. And training is always a big aspect of any volunteer organization. And I suggested to him that we reach out to them and find out what they needed that would benefit them the most, because the purchase of this, they call it a prop, but this tool that they use for training not only would allow the agencies from our county to be able to use it, but also any surrounding county that wanted to come use it. So basically, anybody that was involved in this fire would have the opportunity to come use this piece of equipment. If anybody, but nobody's ever been to the training center in La Crosse, it's truly a state-of-the-art facility. I think Mr. Jennings has been down there, and we're hoping next month we're actually going to have them come do a little presentation for us to show us what all is down there. But we wanted to try to give back something to them that would allow them to train safely, to do their job better, and improve the quality of service they give not only to the citizens of Mecklenburg, but the surrounding counties also. And I just think this is an excellent.
Yeah. So we need a cost involved here on that. If we
I think
on the
Alex
motion.
has any of that.
Alex?
The cost is it's about $16,600. We just need your approval to go buy it. I mean, actually we can we have the funds for it. So we don't need to do anything.
I think it's an absolute wonderful idea because it helps so many fire departments and all, and they all get to use it just as Tom said. So we'll entertain a motion to.
I'll make that motion, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. The motion's been made and to purchase this piece of equipment for the fire training center in La Crosse. All in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carries. Thank y'all. We've got an appointment to make on the Roanoke River Rails to Trails Board of Directors. So we're looking for volunteers, and I can appoint one real quick here if you want me to, but no, I think it can be somebody in the community. Or Alex, are you one?
No, it's actually our tourism coordinator, Tina Morgan, is the.
She's already on.
She's on there, and
Yeah.
she needs to be reappointed.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
she's the
that's it.
secretary of the organization.
All right, motion been made?
Yeah.
All right. Motion been made to reappoint Tina. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. All right. Got the consent calendar next.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Motion been made to approve the consent calendar. All in favor say aye. Aye. All right. Mr. Gravitt, you want to go first?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Not much this month, just thank you to all the first responders and the people who've been helping so much with the devastation out in southwestern Virginia. It's just, from the pictures, just words probably just can't describe what those people have been through. And I just thank you so much for the community around this area kind of rallying together to send some supplies and stuff to those people in need. Thank you for the people with VDOT going out that way too to assist. I think the purchase for this fire training, this fire event, will be a much needed piece of equipment for the fire and EMS side of things, and excited to get it, excited to use it. Everybody have a safe month. We'll see you next month.
Thank you. Ms. Black?
Glad to see that plans are in the way for preparing for future events in firefighting with the addition of the roof. See that the county is moving forward in positive ways to upgrade our county, and continued prayers for the victims with the weather event in Southwest Virginia and North Carolina.
All right, thank you. Mr. Spence?
All right, I'm gonna limit my time to disaster relief specifically. I sent out a email and a follow-up email to board members, and I think you all saw that. Hopefully you did. But I'll just mention that, you know, there's quite a bit of effort going into the disaster relief in the Appalachian area. Those folks have just been devastated. I'm sure all of you completely aware of what I'm speaking of. With that said, I just wanted to open up some discussion about disaster relief and possibly what Mecklenburg County Board of Supervisors could do, if anything. You know, I did look into the area and ask some questions about what was being done locally by citizens and that type of thing. And I'm sure I missed a lot of people, but just the ones that I talked to, I know the Southside Rescue Squad is involved. South Hill Fire Department is being utilized as a drop point. National Wildlife Turkey Federation has partnered with the Antlers Lodge there in South Hill, and they're assisting as well. There's local farmers that have been involved, local truck drivers. And like I said, I'm sure there's many more, but so far I've been told that Southside Rescue Squad has sent out several trailers out to that area with full of supplies. The National Wildlife Turkey Federation and Antlers Lodge, I know they have sent out several trailer loads of supplies as well. And all of these places are continuing to take donations and what have you. I'm told that local farmers are doing things that would address, you know, our neighbors out in that area that have farms or livestock, such as there's quite a few loads of hay being put together to be transported out to that area. I mentioned truck drivers. In order to get these items out there, very often it takes truck drivers and people to have the appropriate licensure and license and what have you in order to drive those trucks. So the community has really come together and already just started providing support to that area. Other areas, independent agencies that are involved, places like Samaritan's Purse, there's another one called Impact Missions. These people provide a lot of different services, but Impact Missions in particular, you know, they get people together who are contractors that maybe can go ahead and do different kind of construction work, volunteers that can feed people. They dispatch people who are, in some cases, professional tree services and what have you, and they dispatch them out to areas like this. And so it's a big push, you know, all over the area to try to assist these folks. And I'll close with, and this comes from Impact Missions. Their motto is to pray, give, and go. Pray for those affected in every state that suffered damage from Helene and Milton. You can give something in some kind of way. And go, they open the door to have people register and or to help to be deployed to these different areas, and they'll actually also give people some limited level of training in order to know what to do and when they go to these areas. So, like I said, I don't know what, if anything, that we as a board can do on behalf of Mecklenburg County, but I'm certainly putting it out there for discussion, and I'd like to see if there's any other suggestions or comments and whatnot, I defer to Tom. He mentioned, one option might be that if we can't give money, we have equipment, we have things that we surplus. This might be an area that, that we might have items that we don't need any longer, that maybe we could surplus. Or that we've already surplus, that maybe it could be donated to that area. And I don't know if you want to elaborate on that here or not.
That's the only thing that I knew of that, I didn't know whether we had any surplus vehicles or anything that we may be able to do something, and that would be an Alex question. That some of these entities, I know other places, I think Lake Gaston or one of the fire departments around sent a fire truck out to them, but we don't own fire trucks. We don't own stuff like that. So that may be something that he could just think about and get back to us. And, if it's something that we feel we could share with these people to help them.
What is, and this Russell question for you, what is the legal side of that as far as?
Well, I think we can do it. I need to know what you're trying to accomplish.
Okay.
Once I do, I can make it. I gather, Mr. Tanner, you're talking about a report next month.
Yeah, well, either that or, if in the meantime, if Alex finds out anything, if he can send something out to the board to say, hey, we don't have anything, we have this, but that was the only thing I could think of.
Well, I think the need is going to be long-term.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And next month I don't think is
Too late.
by any stretch of the imagination. Can that be financial too, Russell, or not?
Yep.
It can?
Well, I just follow up on that, just compliment the people of Mecklenburg County. I mean, I know just our little small area ran into churches and stuff like that. It's probably not a church probably in the county. It probably hadn't stepped up and did something. I know we got neighbors that took trailers and took stuff out of there, and churches and all committed that. They've been out there 2 or 3 times. I've talked to a guy the other day that spent a week out there cooking and helping and doing stuff like that. But, this county, I mean, it's probably very few that hadn't really stepped up to the plate to help these people and all. And we would certainly think we could very easily be in that same situation one day or something. I mean, they didn't expect this by any way.
Dennis, why don't you maybe work with Alex and Judy and Russell over the next month and see what would be appropriate for us to come up with.
Right.
And we'll go from there. Like I said, the need is going to be extremely long-term.
Yes, sir.
And I think on the short run, probably the biggest problem they got out there now is there's plenty of stuff there, but getting it in the right places at the right time is what the challenge is.
Yeah.
So I think that's a great idea going forward, and I think maybe y'all can work it out for our November meeting.
Absolutely. Great.
All right, thank you for bringing that up. Ms. London?
Yes, thank you. First of all, I'd like to say we had a great banquet. The Planning Commission had a great banquet on last Thursday night. The speaker was from Richmond, I believe, and he talked about Capitol secrets at the Capitol, and how it fit in with the leadership and wisdom. As Brinkley has just said, many churches have already contributed thousands of dollars, plus they have also contributed to Red Cross for this purpose. In my circle, that I go with, and associations, 74 churches and all, but still can do more.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I remember I must do, what's the man we're talking about the money?
Do what?
What's the man sat over there and talk about the money all the time?
Mr. Blaylock?
Blaylock, yes.
Blaylock.
We have talked about a lot of money.
You forgot him?
Yeah, you voted with him more than I did.
We talked about a lot of spending today, but I think everything that we had on our agenda was needed. The HABIC system for the courthouse and the new building, the rescue squad funding for drugs and medicine and other things that goes along with that to support our county. Clerk of court, they getting repair and preservation of imaging for court records, which is very much needed. And lastly, tobacco. All of you who are great farmers, get that tobacco in for a frost.
Well, thank you, Ms. London. Is that all you have?
Yes, yes.
Okay, Mr. Taylor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First, I'd like to congratulate our new Emergency Service Director, Mr. Birch. I think he will do a good job. He's going to have a lot on his plate to start with because we've got a lot going on, but I think he'll do well with it. As Ms. Lundy mentioned, we had our Planning District Commission meeting Thursday night, and I'd like to thank all the commissioners from this board that are on there, Mr. Jennings, for coming. A lot of people don't realize what the Planning Commission does for these 3-member counties, especially with all these grants and stuff for broadband. They've been the administrators of these grants, and Deborah and her staff at the Planning Commission do a tremendous job for all of these counties. Last week was Fire Prevention Week, so I missed it by a week, but I'd encourage everybody to check the smoke detectors and make sure they're working. It makes the emergency services job a lot easier. The Bracy Convenience Center site we talked about earlier is moving along, so these centers have come slower than I think the board has wanted to, but I think we're moving in the right direction because if you see any of our landfill employees out there, stop and talk to them. They do a tremendous job for this county, and I stopped and talked to a couple of them the other day, and they're very appreciative of everything, but I think these new convenience center sites will be a tremendous help to them in their job. Also, anybody that's got any comments about solar, whether it's one way or the other, the Planning Commission meeting is coming up on the 31st, so make sure that you're there to voice your opinion one way or the other. Let that board know how you feel about it. Other than that, I also want to congratulate Mr. Gottschalk. I don't know if anybody has gone to listen to it, but if you go to the VACO site and to the Capital Connections, Mr. Gottschalk did a couple podcasts on there with a gentleman talking about the growth that Mecklenburg has seen with data centers and solar and stuff like that, and he did a very good job with them, so I'd like to congratulate him, but also encourage anybody to go listen to him. I think they rode all over the county doing them, and I think this gentleman really got to see a lot of what goes on in Mecklenburg and what happens here, so it really worked out well. Also, I'd like to just, as everyone said, keep the people from Southwest Virginia and Western North Carolina in our prayers because they're going to need it for a long time. Absolutely. This is not going to be a 1-month fix or a 2-month fix. It's going to be a generational fix.
Yes.
So that's all I got, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Taylor. Ms. Franklin.
Well, I agree with everything everybody said so far. But a couple weeks ago, had the opportunity to go to the Parkview Boosters fundraiser. They had a fundraiser, and Mr. Tanner was there, Mr. Gotcha was there, and they did a good job of showing what they're doing, the board members they have, and what they're doing. And if y'all familiar, we gave them that land up there to for the youth and stuff like that. And they are doing a tremendous job up there. I mean, they have already spent a lot of money, did a lot of things up there. And I'd strongly encourage you to go up there and see that, or what they've done to the gym, what they've done to the football fields and stuff like that, and redone and stuff. And I think this Saturday, they having football games up there this Saturday. I think it starts at 10. But if you hadn't been up there, you need to really go up there and see that. See the kids, the amount of kids and stuff, the people that's involved with that. And all. It's just tremendous. They're going to probably, I think they play Lunenburg. They'll probably fill up both sides of the bleachers. There'll be more people there than probably at a high school football game. Probably, it's unreal. They play 3 or 4 games, but
you get the parents and the grandparents.
Parents, grandparents, everything. And I think they actually having like homecoming up there too. I think that's part of that this weekend and all. But and it kind of follow up at, here I go, Mr. Jennings, talk about money again. We talked about this. This county, we've done pretty well here the last few years and stuff like that. And to give back to these kids and stuff like that, I think we really need to take a look at what we can do financially to help a program like this, because, you know, if we're gonna keep growing parks and recreation, stuff like that, it's coming. And here we are, we got, at this particular end of the county, right now, we got a group that's willing to run this, do it and all, and maybe we just help them build it. And I understand, I won't call the names, but I know it's another group working a little bit on the other end of the county, the western end of the county. And I think maybe we need to look at that too, if they come up with the right things, the right people, and a good plan and stuff like that, that we may look at that to try to help them out. Because I think, like I say, it'd be far cheaper than we trying to do something and running it ourselves and worrying about that and all. I think getting the right people on both ends. And I really, like I say, I'm impressed with the group up here at South Hill that's doing that. And I think it's potentially can happen the same way then on the other end of the county. But I think that's some going forward. We got a time before our budget on, but we need to look at that, think about what we could do. But I think it's important to kind of give back, help out these kids and stuff like that. And like I said, if you want a little example, go up that Saturday and see what they are doing up there and look at the amount of kids and stuff like that. It's tremendous. It's tremendous. So that's all I got to say.
Nothing from Mr. Hargrove?
No, he ain't got nothing.
You didn't cut him off in the past.
Mr. Hargrove come, was it last Saturday for last?
Saturday for last.
Last Saturday for last, and did a little preaching up at our church each side, and we had a little community revival with all kinds of people, and he sang, he played the piano a little bit, he preached a little bit, and ate a lot.
Ate a lot.
I knew it was going to be some feeding involved.
All right, very good.
Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot it's your turn, ain't it?
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I agree with everything everybody has said, all the comments and so forth. But one of the things I think that we need to keep on our agenda in our foresight is that Mr. Hendricks is leaving November next year. And he's training, what is the ESO now? Is that correct, Mr. Hendricks? Right, he's training him. But we're also going to need continuously to have on our agenda and hopefully can incorporate in our budget for the next year a planner. We're going to need a planner. It's no ifs, ands, and buts about it. We're going to need a planner because of the way it's growing, because what he's teaching, the sediment erosion, his job, then he's going to need somebody else to come and help him because it's too much work for one person. So it's something to think about for next year. The county's growing drastically, and so we need to keep up with the times. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Hargrove. Well, I certainly agree with everything everybody else has had to say, especially Dennis. I want to thank you for bringing that up. What's going on with, Southwest Virginia, Southwest and Western North Carolina, but I can't imagine what these people are going through. And, when that event was happening, if you think you put the time perspective on it, it all took place in about a 2-hour period. So it was just utter devastation with no warning whatsoever. And, they're going to need a lot of help for a very, very long time. Anyway, Alex, I greatly appreciate all the work and staff and the lawyers and everybody's done on this, text Zordon amendments, because it's just everything's changing and we got to kind of stay out in front of it, and it's a little bit hard to do. Most of the time government's reactive, but at least we're being a little proactive on some of this stuff right here. I know what David brought up, and I hope I'm not a little bit premature on this, Alex, but I know you and I have talked, like in the future going forward in the next budget cycle, that we need to be thinking about kind of special projects that we think needs to be happening in the county, and maybe designate a certain amount of funds for those projects and that kind of thing. That certainly is a great possibility right there. So I'm sure in January you'll probably elaborate a little more on that as we start talking about budgets coming forward and all that kind of thing. November meeting is on the first Monday in November, not the second. So it's always the day before Election Day. So everybody needs to remember that one. So anyway, that's all I have. And we'll close out the meeting on that, I reckon. So if anybody doesn't have anything, meeting adjourned.
Record time.
20 minutes. That's pretty good.